इसमें भेजा था देखो, इसमें भेजा था। हेलो
वही नहीं मिल रहा।
हेलो 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 सर।
चलो चलो और करना क्या सब अपना करेगा।
ಹಲೋ ಸರ್.
ಶೇರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಹಲೋ ಸರ್.
ಅದು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸರ್, ಅದು ಪ್ರಸನ್ನ ಸರ್. ಹಾಂ ಸರ್. ಸರ್ ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಅವ್ರ ಇಮೇಲ್ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಹಾಂ ಹೌದು ಸರ್. ಇಮೇಲ್ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್
ಶ್ರೀ ಮೈಕ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ.
ಹಲೋ ಸರ್. हेलो सर। हेलो। हेलो। हेलो सर। हेलो सर। हेलो सर। ये बंद करो क्या? ये बंद है। हेलो। 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 हेलो सर।
मैं ऑडिबल सर?
हेलो सर। हेलो सर। हेलो सर।
मैं ऑडिबल सर? हेलो सर? मैं ऑडिबल सर? May I audible, sir? Hello, sir. Hello, sir. May I audible, sir?
हेलो सर। हेलो। हेलो सर।
Is it audible, sir?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Is it audible, sir?
हाँ सर साउंड आया। हेलो
Hello, sir.
हाँ साउंड आया।
आ रहा है सर, आ रहा है।
Hello, sir.
हाँ साउंड आया ना सर।
Hello, sir.
हाँ हेलो बोलिए सर।
Sir, is it audible?
हाँ या आई कैन हेयर योर वॉइस।
Okay, sir. Sir, shall we start?
हाँ या यू कैन स्टार्ट।
Good morning, all. Myself, Dr. Ajay Kumar Acharya, first year PG scholar, Department of Kaya Chikitsa. Today, we are going to start our national webinar series, Kaya Chintana series, like 5th lecture by Dr. Nagendra Prasad sir on dietary management of obesity. I welcome you, sir. Now I request Dr. Avinash Guled for the guest introduction.
Thank you, Dr. Ajay Kumar Acharya. It is a great honor to me to introduce our eminent speaker, Dr. Nagendra Prasad sir. Sir is born on 22nd June 1975. Sir completed UG from Government Ayurvedic Medical College, Bolangir, Odisha. Sir completed PG and PhD from Utkal University, Odisha. Sir have experience of more than 16 years in Kaya Chikitsa, and sir is a approved reviewer of Journal of Research in Ayurvedic Science, and sir is reviewed 3 journals. Sir is author of a book, Ayurvedic Patya Vijnana. Sir is having a publication in 5 international journals and 2 national journals. Sir is presented 4 international scientific papers and 4 national papers and 2 state level seminars. Sir has guided 6 dissertations under Rajiv Gandhi University, Bengaluru. Sir is presently working as a professor and HOD of Department of Kaya Chikitsa at Dr. Anar Singh Ayurvedic Medical College and Hospital, Farokhabad, Uttar Pradesh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Avinash. Now I request Dr. PV Joshi sir for welcome speech.
Morning to all. Om Dhanvantare Namaha. I welcome today's guest speaker, Dr. Nagendra Prasad sir, to this session. Sir is going to deliver his speech on pediatrics management of obesity. Myself and Dr. Nagendra Prasad worked together in the same institute, that is in SUM Ayurvedic Medical College, Ilkal years together. So I'm very much happy that today Dr. Nagendra Prasad sir is going to deliver the speech as a part of webinar Kaya Chintana 2020. So I wholeheartedly welcome Dr. Nagendra Prasad sir for this session. Welcome you, sir. Please continue your session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you sir।
Thank
ओम
you,
श्री
sir.
गुरु।
Thank you, sir. I request all participants to please mute your audio and video both. Now, sir, please start the session. Thank you.
Om Sri Guru Baswalingaya Namo. With the blessings of Sri Manipura Guru Manth Swamiji, today I am going to deliver my topic dietary management of obesity. I'm very much thankful to Dr. Keshi Das, Principal, SVM Ayurvedic Medical College, and Dr. P.V. Joshi, Professor and HOD Department of Kai Chikitsa, Sri Vijay Mahantes Ayurvedic Medical College. I am very happy to see all of you again, and I can remember those old days in Sri Vijay Mahantes Ayurvedic Medical College, where I have tendered 13 years of my teaching from beginning of my teaching career. So before beginning of this session, let us pray Lord Dhanvantari to bless us with all the knowledge of Ayurveda. So just I shall start this session with first video clip of Dhanvantari Vandana. With this auspicious prayer of Lord Dhanvantari, let's start the session with dietary management of obesity. So, as it is already told, I am going to deliver my webinar on dietary management of obesity. So, why diet? As of all of you know, in Ayurveda it is told that both body and disease is the byproduct of diet. If you will follow a proper dietary habit, then we shall not fall in disease. And if we will not follow the proper dietary rule, definitely we will suffer from many diseases. In his text, Lorimbo Raj have truly told यदि पथ्यर गदार्थस्य किमौषध निसेवनम, यदि अपथ्य गदार्थस्य किमौषध निसेवनम, which means if a person will follow proper dietary habit, he will never fall in ill, and if a person is not following proper dietary habit, he will always become ill, and medicine will not work in those persons. That's why diet is the pivot behind any disease management, and it is more appropriate for obesity, because obesity is such a disease which cannot be managed without following proper dietary regulation. In case of pre-obese person, if a person will follow proper dietary regimen, he will never fall in ill. If a person is obese, to control obesity, he has to follow the proper dietary habit. And in post-obese persons, if a person has get cured out of obesity, but if the person will not follow the dietary regimen, again that person will put on weight. It means diet is important in all the clinical condition. It may be pre-obese, it may be obese, or it may be a post-obese condition. That's why I have specially selected this topic for today's webinar. So during the course of my presentation, I shall go through this step by step. First of all, I shall give you a knowledge about what is obesity. Here I have given the histopathological definition of obesity. Then in a normal clinical condition, how to diagnose a patient of obesity. Then second, relation between obesity and COVID-19. As you know, both you and me are here because of this COVID-19. Then what is the importance of this disease obesity in the current scenario? What is the relation between obesity and this coronavirus disease? Then I shall give a brief description of treatment modalities available in all the texts for the disease obesity. Then especially I shall describe the principle of diet therapy, in which principle we shall select the diet, which type of diet we should select. Then after that I shall give a list of clinical remedies for obesity, and lastly conclusion, where I shall summarize all these things. So before going into my topic, then so first of all, let's know what is obesity. So as I have told you already, so as I have already told you that obesity is defined as an abnormal growth of adipose tissue due to an enlargement of fat cell size or fat cell number, or a combination of both. So it is a histopathological definition, which means if there is increase in fat cell size, or if there is increase in fat cell numbers, or in some condition there is combination of increased fat cell size as well as increase in fat cell number, that is called as obesity. In this condition, I would like to inform you that dietary principles are more applicable for hypertrophic obesity. That means the obesity which is caused due to increased cell size, whereas dietary regimen or dietary therapy or diet therapy works as a second line of treatment, or you can tell it as a supportive treatment in case of hyperplastic or the obesity which is caused due to increased cell number. Then now, how a clinician or a general practitioner will diagnose a case of obesity. There are so many methods beginning from the biometric calculation to biochemical parameters to diagnose a patient of obesity. But in general day-to-day practice for a normal clinician or for a general practitioner, you can take weight of the patient. So increased weight as compared to the ideal weight for particular sex and height. So if you will go through the websites, if you will go through the different texts of medicine, you will get a chart that is normal height and weight chart according to the age and sex of the person. So if the person's weight is more than 10% of ideal, then it is called as overweight, and if it is more than 20%, it is called as obesity. So for example, suppose a person is having normal weight of 60 kg, and his actually weight is 66 kg. It means the person is having weight, and the person will be termed as overweight. If that person is having weight of 72 kg, that is more than 20%, or it is 20%, that person will call as obese. So in different clinical conditions, the different therapies are available, and according to the patient condition, we can select the appropriate therapy for a particular patient. There is another criteria to diagnose a person of obesity, that is relative weight. So what is relative weight? It is actual weight divided by the desirable weight multiplied by 100. So if a person's actual weight is 50 kg and desirable weight, that means the weight which is mentioned in the height and weight chart, then so if it is actual weight is 50 kg and desirable weight is 100 kg, so actual if actual weight is 100 kg and desirable weight is 50 kg, so actual weight divided by desirable weight, that is 100 divided by 50 into 100, that is 200%. That means that person is morbidly obese. So in this way you can diagnose a patient of obesity. Similarly, there is another widely used criteria to diagnose obesity, although all these are for general practitioners, and with these parameters one can diagnose a patient of obesity. So body mass index, or which is otherwise known as Quetelet index. So what is body mass index? In the next slide I have mentioned in detail. So body mass index is the weight in kilogram divided by height, square of height in meter square, and that will provide you the body mass index or BMI. So according to the CDC, if the BMI is less than 18.5, it falls within the underweight range. If BMI is 18.5 to less than 25, it is normal. If it is 25 to less than 30, it is overweight. If it is higher than 30, it is obese. Again, if the person is obese, again we have to decide whether the person is class below, whether the person belongs to class 1 obesity, class 2 obesity, or class 3 obesity. So according to this to CDC, if BMI is more than 30 but less than 35, it is a category called class 1 obesity. If it is 35 but less than 40, then it is class 2, and if the BMI is more than 40, then it is called as severely obese or extreme obese. Then if you cannot remember, just remember the body weight, BMI before below 20 kg per meter square is underweight, 20 to 25 kilogram per meter square normal, 25 to 30 overweight, 30 to 40 obese, and above 40 is very obese. So these are some of the criteria I have mentioned in brief, because if you will go through the text, you will get a lot of references to diagnose a patient of obesity. But for a general clinical practitioner, if you are having these three parameters, you can diagnose a patient of obesity, and you can start the treatment. Next, let us know what is the relation between obesity and COVID-19. So I have gone through the different articles and I have found an article in the Hindu dated 14th May 2020, and where I have found that World Obesity Federation have declared obesity related conditions seem to worsen the effect of COVID-19. So many studies have been conducted in US, UK, France, and other Western countries to find out is there any relation between obesity and coronavirus cases. It is seen that although the obese persons are not more prone for infection, but the mortality rate and the requirement of intensive medical care or ICU facilities more in the persons who are obese. So during the course of study, I have found a Newark study has been published where 3,615 COVID-19 patients have been tested and found that obesity increased the risk of severity even among the relatively younger patients. So if you will see the death rate of COVID-19 or the patients who are aged or the patients who are more than 60 to 65 years of age, the mortality rate is high. But if the person is obese and the person's BMI is more than 34, that the death rate as well as the chance of admission in ICU will be more. So it is observed that if a patient is less than 60 years of age, here the patients of more than 60 years of age has not been taken into consideration. So if the person is less than 60 years of age and BMI is 30 to 34 kilogram per meter square, then acute care need of acute care is 2 times, whereas if the BMI is more than 34, this will increase to 2.2 times. Similarly, the requirement for ICU treatment is 1.8 times in 30 to 34 range, and if the person is more than BMI of more than 34 kg per meter square, then the need of ICU treatment is 3.6 times more. That means just double of the BMI belongs to 30 to 34. So you can understand the severity of obesity in the current scenario of COVID-19 disease also. Similarly, a French study has been conducted among 124 patients, and a link between COVID-19 and BMI has been established, and it is observed, which can be represented in this graphical representation. If the person is non-COVID, the respiratory distress syndrome is more, and if the person is obese, then the respiratory distress syndrome is less. But with COVID-19 infection, here this is the BMI range in between below 30, it is 25 to, below 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 34, and this is more than 34. So with increase in BMI, it is observed that the respiratory distress syndrome or the chances of seriousness of the disease will increase with increase in BMI. Similarly, intensive medical cure or intensive medical defense needed more in cases of the persons whose BMI is more than 34 in comparison to the patients whose BMI is less than 25. So these are some of the data. So next, so this is all about, I think all of you have understood what is obesity and what is the relation between obesity and this coronavirus infection. And again, I would like to inform you that the World Obesity Federation and CDC have declared that due to this continuous lockdown, the incidence of obesity will increase when there will be unlock, or when this lockdown will be lifted up. Because you may have seen the consumption of LPG gas cylinder has been increased manifold after during the lockdown. It means the persons are consuming more diet during this lockdown period, whereas the physical activity has been minimized, and all the spa, then gyms has been closed, outdoor activities have been reduced, and outdoor games have been reduced. In this in such a scenario, the patients are consuming more caloric diet without expenditure, which will ultimately lead to obesity in near future. So before going in detail about the treatment modalities, just I would like to share another video by which you can understand the, by which you can know that what is the problem with the patients of obesity. Why a person having obesity are more before that, just see the understanding of obesity, how it occurs, and what is the role of diet in obesity. So just enjoy this video for a few minutes.
It is said Anumiti Karanam Anumanam Anumana.
With this, let us come to my topic. So again, so now we have understood actually what is the difficulty in treating a patient of obesity and why diet is important in all these conditions. When I shall discuss in my further slides regarding the management of obesity as per the Ayurvedic principles of treatment, you can understand why I have shown this video clip to you. So if you'll go through the different texts related to obesity, and you will get in a nutshell, there are these 5 to 6 points or of treatment, or the 5 to 6 procedures of treatment are available for treating a patient of obesity. So first one is patient counseling. I shall not discuss in detail about all these treatment modalities, as I have already mentioned that my point of discussion is diet therapy or the dietary management. So I shall concentrate on diet only. But neither the modality patient counseling, that means usually when patient loses weight, he or she thinks that he will never put on weight, and again he start the same type of diet. Then next is diet therapy, which I shall discuss in detail. Another is behavioral modification, which means it needs a change of behavior of the patient. If you will go through the Ayurvedic literatures, there is concept of Adhyasana, Atyasana, etc., which is related to the behavior of the patient. Similarly, some of the patient used to take food in front of the TV, etc. Those are called as behavioral modification. Similarly, exercise therapy, that how much exercise a patient should be advised, and uh, which type of exercises a patient of obesity should go through. Then drug therapy, as you know, so many medicines are also available in in market, as well as from Ayurveda and modern medicine. And lastly, if these all these treatment procedures will help, and if the person is morbidly obese, in that condition surgical intervention may be advised. Then, so let us concentrate on principles of diet therapy. If you will go through Charak So
Hello, sir.
hello,
Hello, sir. Is it audible, sir?
is it audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in Charak Sutrasthan 21st chapter, it has been told Gurum Chapatarpanam Istunam Kursanam Prati. Similarly, if you will go through the modern literature and you will see the principle of dietary management is having its own principle of diet. Points, and it is so you should have in your mind that at least 0.5 to 1 kilojoule of 1 kg of should be reduced in a week. That's why it requires 7,700 kilocalorie, which leads to lose about 1 kg of weight. By estimating the daily caloric needs, approximately 125 to 150 kilocalories ना सर नहीं मैं एक्चुअल में कनेक्ट किया इसको वो ब्रॉडबैंड कनेक्शन किया था उससे चला गया फिर मोबाइल से भी कनेक्ट किया वो भी बीच में चला जा रहा है यस सर told you it will it was 40 grams of vitamin A and C, minerals like iron, calcium, fluid along with salt. This is all about management in modern medicine. Obesity is concerned. Now, come to our point, the treatment modalities in diet therapy. So if we will see, diet therapy begins with fasting, starvation, raw diets and formula prepared diets which is available in the market. So first of all, let us discuss about how to fast. So for an obese person, not only obese person, for almost all the healthy individual, fasting is advised once in a week or once in a 10 days. And when there is no need of spend of energy in talking, shouting, etc. Usually, I used to fast once in 15 days, and I have chosen the Ekadasi as fasting for me. And usually on every 15 days, I used to fast to, and blessingly, I am having a weight of 55 kg, 50 to 55 kg since last 20 years. And you may have heard about the beneficial effects of fasting. So all of you should take fast at least in a week or 10 days or in 15 days. And for a obese person, it is highly advisable. And for fast, the morning should be started with a glass of plain water. And there are so many types of fastings are described. Some can take juice whole day, some can take soup whole day, some can take only plain water as per need of the body and your physique. You can go for fasting. So I used to fast with fruits only. So then after taking fast, it is necessary to know how to break the fast for all the individual, especially for the obese person, because in the next day after fasting, there is a craze for food, and usually the persons used to consume high calorie diet, which is negate the benefit of fasting, and that fasting which has been done, it is of no use. So at first one should be advised to break fast with vegetable or fruit juices, thereafter some semi fluids or for the next meal, then after that only solid foods, fruits or raw boiled vegetables can be taken. Usually it is seen that to lose weight in obese person is not so difficult, but it is very difficult to maintain the reduced weight. As I have already shown you in that videography, there is a set point for which you, whenever there will be lack of calorie, you will have a craze for food, you will consume extra calorie, it will be deposited in your body, again you will put on weight. So in nutshell, obesity is an eating disorder, but only by limiting food intake, one cannot reverse the underlying mechanism. So the things which have been mentioned here should be regularly followed. That is, no overeating, regular daily exercise, avoid saturated refined sugar and confectionery products, no eating between meals, and no alcohol. Then come to the formula prepared diet, that is very low calorie density diet and low calorie density diet, which is available in the market. As a general guideline, caloric intake below 800 kilocalorie per day has been taken as the definition of very low caloric diet, and it may range from 500 to 800 kilocalorie per day with 50 to 80 grams of high quality protein. The remaining calories consist of carbohydrate and fat. Vitamin and micronutrient supplements are incorporated in the formula or added as a supplement. Such high quality low calorie diet formula lead to relative rapid weight loss. What it means? If a person cannot follow the dietary regimen, you can prescribe him the very low calorie density diet and low calorie density diet under medical supervision. As it has already been mentioned, these types of formula prepared diet, that is very low calorie density diet, is not prescribed for more than 6 weeks. In the absence of existing diseases like gout, renal insufficiency, cardiac arrhythmia, etc., it means if the patient is having other allied disease conditions like gout, renal insufficiency, cardiac arrhythmia, etc., those persons cannot be prescribed such type of very low caloric density diet. Then come to low calorie density diet or low calorie diets. So these are the diets which provide a high quality protein and greater than 800 kilocalorie per day. So then, so with this, I have completed the treatment modalities available in diet therapy, beginning from fasting, then very low calorie density diet or very low calorie diet, then low calorie diet. And it is observed that a low calorie diet is can be prescribed more safely than the very low calorie diet. Now come to the regimen for an obese person with respect to diet therapy. So usually the persons of obesity are advised morning drink as 2 to 3 glass of plain water or juice of 1 lemon and 1 spoon of honey in a glass of warm water, or a glass of buttermilk without salt, 2 spoons of fresh Indian gooseberry juice in a glass of warm water. If fresh berries are not available, dried ones can be soaked overnight and crushed to extract the juice in the next morning. Then in breakfast, any single fruit like papaya, unpeeled apple, orange, grape, guava, pineapple, plum, etc. can be given, or porridge made up of ragi and sprouted whole Bengal gram or whole green moong, any one at a time. Juice of any vegetable like tomato, spinach, beetroot, or all three mixed, or of carrot, ginger, lemon, beetroot, and coriander leaves, or cucumber or bitter gourd juice can be given, or orange juice, pineapple juice, grape juice, or apple juice, or wheat bran in either skimmed milk or buttermilk. So it should be taken as breakfast for the obese persons. Then in lunch, 1 bowl of raw vegetable, 1 bowl of boiled vegetable, a little unpolished or boiled rice, or 1 small whole wheat bread can be taken as a lunch for the obese persons. During evening, the person can take vegetable juice or buttermilk. If a person is taking tea regularly, it is advisable to take green tea instead of this tea which you are used to take with sugar. Then in dinner, it should be same as lunch, but the quantity should be smaller than lunch, or a plate of any of the above mentioned fruits can be taken as dinner. In during bedtime, no tea, coffee, or milk is advisable. Usually at bedtime, one should take warm water with lemon juice and honey. So these are the dietary regimens for a obese person. I am repeatedly telling this. These are the diet regimen for a obese person, not for a normal person. So this dietary regimen is advisable to persons who are interested to lose their weight and the persons who are obese. Then next I would like to show some of the food items which should be completely avoidable or which should not be taken by an obese person. These are fried items like all the fried foods, sugar, sweets, chocolates and pastries, pudding, dry fruits, ghee, butter and cheese, mayonnaise and ice cream. These are some of the food articles which can be taken in moderate quantities. That is bread, chapati, noodles, fish, chicken should be taken not more than twice a week. Lean meat not more than once a week. Boiled potatoes, eggs twice a week, and cold drinks. So these are the food articles which can be taken or which should be taken in moderate quantities. Then these are the list of food items which are unrestricted for the patients of obesity. That means the patient of obesity can take these foods regularly. These are green leafy vegetables, fruit and salads, khakra, clear soups, roasted chana, and in Karnataka I have gone through these kadak roti, jwar roti, all these can be taken as unrestricted food which can be consumed by an obese person regularly, and it is advisable to take a glass of water every hour per day. In normal condition also, we should take 3 to 4 liters of water per day, and for obese person it is highly advisable because it will dilute the gastric juice, and as I have told you, in Ayurveda, in the lakshanas of obesity, it has been told Shyudhati matra pipasati yogam. So a patient should take repeatedly water every hour, and it is advisable if the patient can take lukewarm water. Then come to some of the kitchen remedies which can general people which can be used by general population, or which you can advise to your patient to take as a remedy if the person is just overweight, not very obese. So extract the juice of 1 lemon in a glass of lukewarm water, add a teaspoonful of honey, mix well and take in the morning immediately after waking up from the bed. Before taking anything else, the same type of drink in place of honey, add pinch of black salt or rock salt, mix well and take in the afternoon. Roast barley seeds and powder it, mix it with little milk and honey, make a small bowl, take it in breakfast. A pinch of salt can be added with a little water, and a small bowl can be taken at the noon. I think this is ragi mudde which is available in ragi mudde which is available in Karnataka, especially in this Mandya and Mysore side, that can be taken as lunch. Then sieve wheat flour and remove the bran, mix 2 tablespoons of this bran in a glass of skimmed milk, add honey and take it at least once a day. So these are some of the kitchen remedies which can be used by obese person. And lastly, I would like to tell, don't add sugar to any of these food items or any of these preparations. Bran can be soaked in buttermilk in place of skimmed milk. And then lastly, to conclude, I would like to inform that excessive accumulation of fat tissues beyond the limitation of skeletal requirement is termed as obesity. As you know, muscles and fats are required to support our skeletal system. If it is stored beyond the skeletal requirement, then it is termed as obesity. Obesity is a nutritional error basically caused due to intake of wrong food, wrong types of calories per meal, and eating meals in the wrong pattern each day. 90% of obesity occurs due to overeating, whether the patient will agree or not, but in 90% of cases it is more due to more calorie intake and less calorie expenditure. It is the diet which gets preeminent position for the management of obesity, as I have already told you, in case of pre-obese person, in case of obese person, and in post-obese person. In all the conditions, diet plays an important role. Food is more powerful than any weight reducing pills. So, as I have already told you, that no medication will work instead of dietary restriction. Diet therapy can range from starvation to different formula prepared diets like low calorie diet and very low calorie diet. When planning diet for an obese person, a weekly weight loss of 0.5 to 1 kg should be aimed, not 5 to 10 kg, because it is not an ideal weight reducing program. In general, medically, crash diets are not recommended because they carry risk and it is an unpleasant fact. Those losing weight thus usually regain the lost weight once they go off it. And lastly, it is important to drink plenty of water, include a raw diet, reduce salt intake, regular exercise to maintain reduced weight, as the major problem in the treatment of obesity is not weight reduction but maintenance of reduced weight. So if a person wants to maintain the reduced weight, he has to follow all the regimen. And again I am telling that only by dietary restrictions obesity cannot be treated, especially if the person is very obese or extremely obese. But dietary restriction is important. Without a dietary restriction, no medicine and therapy will work in the management of obesity. And before concluding, let's me share another video, not only for obese person, for all the person who wants to remain fit and fine. Lastly, I would like to thank the organizers, and I can see my students, Dr. Avinash and Ajay. All of you are there, and thank you to Dr. Kesidas, principal, and Dr. PV Joshi sir, and all other members directly or indirectly involved in this webinar. Thank you all the listeners. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have some questions.
Yeah.
Is it audible, sir?
Please tell us.
Sir, what may be the diet if obesity associated with osteoarthritis and heartburn?
So, as I have told you, in all the conditions you should arthritic, you can use calcium in along with that diet, and usually you can remove the cream from milk, and that milk can be taken. Again, all the diet which will reduce the calcium, that should be avoided, and otherwise normal diets which I have told you, that can be taken by all category of patients. Only the formula prepared diet should be used very cautiously. Over to you.
Okay, sir. Sir, next question. Is it audible, sir?
Still.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Is it audible, sir?
Still.
Sir, in day-to-day life, people are taking lukewarm water with honey. Is it for a diet purpose?
Yeah.
What is the importance of that, sir?
Actually, if you will go through the, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
So, if we will go through the Ayurvedic literatures, honey is having lekhania property, but madhu, lavana, and chara, these things should not be taken continuously for a longer period. So, for a short term, that is 15 days, 30 days, or up to 3 months, you can take lukewarm water with honey, because I have come across some of the persons who are taking this honey with lukewarm water regularly. They are developing the muscle loss along with fat loss. So that's why, if for a time being to lose weight, as honey is having lekhania property as per Ayurveda, as per modern medicine also, honey contains other nutritional nutritional substances. It can be taken, but not as a dietary replacement. It can be taken as a obesity remedial purpose.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Ravi, sir, for vote of thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Arvi Edwanavar, Professor, Department of Kaya Chikitsa, SVM Ayurveda Medical College, Ilkal, Karnataka. I am very much pleased to have an opportunity to convey my vote of thanks to Dr. Nagendra Prasad, sir. So it was the 5th day of our national webinar series, and sir has been delivered a wonderful speech on the dietary management of obesity. So though we got some interrupted services because of the network problem during the presentation, sir has been presented the seminar very nicely. It was very informative, interesting, and meaningful, and explained in such a way that even the common layman can also understand. Hope this seminar helped our participants, students to refresh and to update their knowledge for their own and in their day-to-day clinical practice. So, sir has been highlighted the dietary modifications very nicely. On behalf of our management, institution, principal, sir, teaching and non-teaching staff, PG scholars, UG scholars, and all the participants, I would like to say my vote of thanks, warm vote of thanks to Dr. Nagendra Prasad for their nice explanation. At the same time, I am very grateful for our management and principal sir for their kind cooperation and support. At the same time, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to all the teaching, non-teaching staff or college, PG scholars, UG students, and all the participants for their active involvement in the seminar and making it a grand success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now we can conclude the session. Sir, you can conclude the session.
Yeah.